Raheem here. Welcome. Assalamu alaikum. Let's slay some demons. This presentation is part 2 of the case against FARRAKHAN. So we're going to have some audio scripture and some comments, and then you decide. There's much more, but I try to point out the most obvious things. So again, you decide. So let's proceed. The case against FARRAKHAN. Well, we see he likes kissing devils. Devils not devils anymore. We see Wallace, his mentor, who he's following behind, because that's actually who he's following. He's not following Elijah Muhammad. He's following Wallace. If you analyze, read what Wallace is saying, what Wallace did, and you compare it to what Farrakhan's talking about, the same thing. He's teaching Sunni Islam. The difference is that Wallace's mistake was he took the frog and threw him into the boiling water. The frog felt the water and jumped right out. See, Farrakhan's approach is to put you into the cool water and slowly heat it up, because you know the frog will just sit there, right, and boil to death, because it won't sense the heat. And that's the only difference. He's teaching the same thing Wallace was teaching, but he's a liar, as Wallace was, right? He's a liar, but he's taking and concealing Wallace's teachings, under the cloak of Elijah Muhammad. Anyone can take and just do a quick review of what Wallace was teaching, what Farrakhan's teaching. See, it's the same thing. There's no difference. It's just the approach. That's that one more thing he claims he has to do. He has to convert everybody to Sunni Islam. See, he has them going to Sunni mosques. Now, why would he do something like that? The Sunnis, they would spit on Farad and Elijah if they could. They say Farad is a fraud. Elijah is a false prophet. Call him shirk, right? So why would you go to their temple and pray with them when your messenger and your God is defamed and attacked by them? And when they go there, they would never dare, when they go to the Sunni mosque, never go there and declare that Farad is God and that Elijah Muhammad's last man. They would never declare it. If they ask, they will deny it. So that shows they're frauds. That's definitely Elijah Muhammad. They will not declare that. Because by definition, they go there, they're saying Farad's a fraud and Elijah Muhammad is not for real. They would not say that. And they would definitely never go to the Middle East with any of those people, right? And they claim that, because they would lose their head. So why would they pray with those people? They would definitely not come to a mosque, to your mosque or whatever you want to call it, and declare, you understand, and pray to Farad and accept Elijah Muhammad. So why would they do the opposite? Because he's getting you back into Sunni Islam. It makes no sense to have you go over to there and pray with the people that are totally opposed to you. They hate everything you stand for. Plus, they betrayed us to begin with. They have our land. The Sunnis have our land, our language, they have it all. It belongs to us. They never try to help us in any kind of way, except to try to get us to disavow the Abrahamic covenant. Think about it, brothers and sisters. Why that in itself is an indictment. Why would he have you go and pray at a Sunni mosque? But by definition, you are totally against everything Elijah Muhammad's teaching. You would never go over there and speak about what Elijah Muhammad taught. You would never go over there and represent the message of black men. You would never put any of that stuff. And if you asked, you would deny it. If you asked, do you believe in Farrah's God? You would deny it. Every one of them would, and they call me a liar. If you go over there, they deny Farrah, and deny Elijah Muhammad when they go for their Sunni prayers on Friday. That should tell you all you need to know right there.
Farrakhan claims his father may have been a Jew. By J. Correspondent April 26, 1996. Washington, D.C. Louis Farrakhan suspects that his father may have been Jewish. At least that's what he tells Henry Louis Gates Jr. in the current issue of the New Yorker magazine. Speaking of his father's white Portuguese parents, the Nation of Islam leader said, "I'm going to tell you something. You really want to know what I think? I think they were members of the Jewish community." He added, "I believe that in my blood, and not in a bad way. Because when I was a little boy I used to love listening to the Jewish cantors in Boston. They had a program, and every week I would listen. I was struck by the cantor, and I've always loved the way they sing or recite the Torah." Gates, citing an academic source, says Farrakhan's assertion about his lineage is highly probable given that nearly all people of Iberian descent in Jamaica and Barbados are of Sephardic Jewish ancestry. Farrakhan was born in 1933, the son of May Clark, who was from Barbados. He was named Gene after his father, a light-skinned man with straight hair from Jamaica. His father, Gates writes, was a philanderer whom the family rarely saw. "If in my lineage there are Jews, I would hope that in the end, before my life is over, I not only will have rendered a service to my own beloved community of black people but will also have rendered a service to the Jewish community," Farrakhan was quoted as saying. In the interview with Gates, which reportedly lasted 9 hours, the Nation of Islam leader also made reference to wise Jews who plan evil, the international conspiracy of Jewish bankers and overwhelming Jewish complicity in the slave trade. Jewish groups expressed outrage over Farrakhan's latest public statements. Farrakhan.
Okay, pay close attention, brothers and sisters. Go and review this. In the beginning, he says that his father's parents were white, Caucasian, Portuguese, possibly Jews. Think about that. Caucasian, Portuguese, his father's parents. His father's parents. I'll say it again, his father's parents. Then later, he says, well, his father is a light-skinned Jamaican. There's a lie right there. Because if his father's parents were both Portuguese, possibly Jews, Caucasian, Portuguese, that means his father must be also. See, he changed it because he gets caught in his lie, and he knows that his fathers were Caucasian. He knows that, but he's been busted. See, because science is caught with his ass. See, because your father carries the seed, you're what your father is. So now he doesn't want to say, well, his father was Caucasian, because that means he's Caucasian. He's a demon. So now his father's somehow light-skinned Jamaican, straight hair. So it got changed. See. But then he says, and again, that his father was half. You understand? Another conversation, his father was mixed. So even if it was mixed, because the implication is that the slave master down there raped a black woman. Well, that's still the same thing. Still the same thing. If his father's father was Caucasian, then he's Caucasian. See, all this stuff about if you got any black blood, you black, that's bull. You are what your father is. That's the designation that the slave master made during slavery. To enslave his own children. Nobody thought anything like that. Every nation always recognized the fact that you are the seed of your father. That designation, like I said, only came about during slavery because they wanted to enslave their own children. See, because oh well, you're not because you're black. So in other words, black is a generic term, refers to anybody that has any black blood. And in fact, now it's even more diluted than that because it's like you're a mutt. Because that this Kamala Harris, she's not even by their definition black, because her both parents are Indian. Both her parents are Indian. But first, before she said, "Well, my father's Jamaican." See, to try to fool people. But that was his nationality, not his ethnicity, because he came from India, but he was living in Jamaica. And so he said, "Well, I'm black." She's not black by any definition, no matter how, by any metric, she's not black. But she wanted to get elected. That's why they flew Negroes. Like, what did they say when Clinton was trying to run for president? He's the first black president. Just put the label black, we love you. It's like a bunch of mutts. And they don't understand the meaning. It's demeaning. Because only way you can be white, you have to be thoroughbred. You have to be 100% white. Otherwise, something mess with you. You're impure. That's what mud is. So if anything that has any kind of flaw in it, it's black. And they buy it. But we're not buying it. You what your father is. And the scripture tells you, and Revelation makes it very clear to Angel that demons are the devil's children. It's their seed. Okay. So, and like I said, he lies in here. So if you go read the thing yourself, you can Google it. It's online, right? You Google Farrakhan says missed his father may have been a Jew. Google that, and this article come up. So let's move on, brothers and sisters. He's a demon, pure civil. That's his father there. See, that's his father. It's like see the resemblance. He's a demon, and no real follower of Elijah Muhammad would have been deceived by that. Farrakhan didn't admit to that after Elijah Muhammad was gone, because if he had admitted that his father was Caucasian while Elijah Muhammad was around, the FY would not have given it time of day. The MDT would not have given time of day. He would have run his ass out of there. See, so he didn't reveal that to afterwards when he thought it was safe, but then he had to clean it up once he was been outed. See, because he's a demon. And it's no way in the world that Yaqub's creation is going to produce our Messiah. How's that? See, but if you said, "Hey, you got it," now you say, "Well, you got any bit of black blood that changes everything." That's bullshit. See, and you got them saying that kind of stuff. That's not science. That's just crap they pull out their ass and call it honey. Let's move on.
Now, brethren, concerning the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ and our gathering together to him, we ask you, not to be soon shaken in mind or troubled, either by spirit or by word or by letter, as if from us, as though the day of Christ had come. Let no one deceive you by any means, for that day will not come unless the falling away comes first, and the man of sin is revealed, the son of perdition, who opposes and exalts himself above all that is called God or that is worshipped, so that he sits as God in the temple of God, showing himself that he is God. Do you not remember that when I was still with you I told you these things? And now you know what is restraining, that he may be revealed in his own time. For the mystery of lawlessness is already at work, only he who now restrains will do so until he is taken out of the way. And then the lawless one will be revealed, whom the Lord will consume with the breath of his mouth and destroy with the brightness of his coming. The coming of the lawless one is according to the working of Satan, with all power, signs, and lying wonders, and with all unrighteous deception among those who perish, because they did not receive the love of the truth, that they might be saved. And for this reason God will send them strong delusion, that they should believe the lie, that they all may be condemned who did not believe the truth but had pleasure in unrighteousness. Now, brethren, concerning the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ and our gathering together to
Now, pay close attention to this, brothers and sisters. See, Farrakhan lies about it. See, he claims that son of addition are the Jews. It's son of addition, singular, one person. Then he claims that by his revealing who they are, then the falling away, people are falling away from them. Read this carefully. They make it very clear. The falling away will come first. Let me close this. Let me stop this. So, the falling away will come first. They make it clear. It's talking about him. When they said someone was restraining this whole thing. Who's restraining? Elijah Muhammad was restraining them because this says they was plotting against him while he was still present. They were plotting against him. He's restraining them. But he had to be removed. And they were plotting because you hear, if you listen to it in the previous one, he says, well, Malcolm was planting seed in his head, and his children was planting seed in his head and all this kind of stuff. Elijah Muhammad's children. So they was planning this. They was plotting when Elijah Muhammad was present. But Elijah Muhammad was able to restrain them. But he was pulled out the way. Once he pulled out the way, there was no leadership of Nation of Islam. There was no leadership because these clowns, him and Wallace, got rid of the Nation of Islam, the name and everything, started this thing called the Aliens. So that means that was the falling away first. So the whole nation fell away because there was no leadership. And these clowns taught everything Elijah Muhammad had built, all of it. See, I'm not going to go into all the details here. They got rid of all of it. They didn't just go away. They consciously got rid of it. Wallace stated he was going to get rid of all that stuff. We didn't need it because white folks have it. We're part of America. See, that was his statement. And Farrakhan was standing right there with him, destroyed tens of thousands of people's lives, destroyed it overnight. Within 6 months, it was all gone. Even less than that. That's what happened here. See. So that was the falling away. And then he comes back a couple of years later. And then that's when the son of perdition would be revealed. Him. Sitting in the temple of the God. He said the temple. He said mosque. He said church. He said synagogue. He said the temple. He said the temple. Declare himself as God. You just heard him. These things photoshopped. See? Because he's a liar. He's a son of perdition. And he said his reign would last 42 years. See? He would make sure with the saints, make sure with the NOI and overcome it. Because he's a liar. So you read it carefully. See? So that's why I lie. So, well, I'm revealing who the Jews are, so now they've fallen away. It says the fallen away will come first. And that's exactly what happened. What they say here is exactly what happened. So if you still want to be fooled, that's your business. Those that you can't determine your left hand from your right hand, if you're still fooled after this, then you're either a demon, so you don't have to decide anymore. See, because you're probably a demon anyway, or you're just totally ignorant. If you're totally idiot, if that's the case, we don't want you anyway. Son of addition. Proof is right there.
They came to the other side of the sea, into the region of the Gerasenes. When he got out of the boat, immediately a man from the tombs with an unclean spirit met him. He lived among the tombs, and no one was able to bind him any more, not even with a chain, because he had often been bound with shackles and chains, and the chains had been torn apart by him and the shackles broken in pieces, and no one was strong enough to subdue him. Constantly, night and day, he was screaming among the tombs and in the mountains, and cutting himself with stones. Seeing Jesus from a distance, he ran up and bowed down before him, and shouting with a loud voice, he times said, "What business do you have with me, Jesus, Son of the Most High God?"
So we'll stop there for a second. They're talking about the Nation of Islam, right? And Jesus approaching. Now, they see him, the ones they see off from a distance, these are These are the ones that still hold on to Elijah Muhammad. Now, see, you see a conflict there, because you got to read it carefully, because they want to go along with Joshua or Jesus, but demon speaks up. Farrakhan speaks up, says, no, 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 no. What do you got? What you mess with us for? So pay close attention to that.
I implore you by God, do not torment me. For he had already been saying to him, come out of the man, you unclean spirit. And he was asking him, what is your name?
See here, it says, it tells you what the nation of torment. Do not torment me, and tell your nation of torment, because he was calling them out. He was calling them out, says, y'all demons, Farrakhan, y'all get out of here. Y'all a bunch of demons. See, so that was a torment, because he was being tormented by it, because if you read about the son of perdition, right, it says, who the Lord will consume with the spirit of his mouth and destroy with the brightness of his coming. That means the Son of Man or Suleiman or Jesus is calling them out and it's consuming them, because his whole organization is starting to come apart. He's losing followers. He's hemorrhaging followers, right? And his whole thing started dwindling. That's what I said, it will consume with the spirit of his mouth. And that's what he's saying here. You're tormenting me. You're tormenting me because you're calling me out. You're calling me out. You're exposing me. See? But it says that would be preceded until the Son of Man is actually revealed, and that will be a time the war starts. And when that war starts, it says he'll be destroyed. See, he'll be consumed with who the Lord will consume with the spirit of his mouth and destroy with the brightness of his coming. So he's being consumed right now. This information is because no one's calling them out like I'm calling them out. In fact, no one's calling them out. I'm the only one really calling them out. I'm the only one who know how to call them out because I know who he is. They're not even calling him. They don't even know they're demons. They just don't like Farrakhan. I'm pointing out who he is and showing the scripture. And what they're getting ready to say right here is he getting ready to call them out by name. So when you call somebody by name, that means you know who they are and you make them expose themselves. So now he's making them expose, because there's a conflict within in the nation of Islam right now. And we'll see when we get to Aaron. There's a conflict. And he's going to be taken out from within. Because that's what it tells you. One wanted to go along with him, and one was restraining him.
And he time said to him, my name is Legion, for we are many. And he begged him earnestly not to send him out of the region. Now there was a large herd of pigs feeding nearby on the mountain. And the demons begged.
Now notice that. Legion, Louis, Eugene, Grounds of the NOI backwards. Is that a coincidence? Now they denied that his last name was Grounds. That's the part. Oh no, it ain't Grounds. The rest of it is there. And it is Grounds. They went out there and tried to clean it up on the internet, right? Because his mother was Sarah Mae Grounds. That was her maiden name. When his father, his Caucasian father, raped her, right? She was not married to him. And when he was born, she was still not married. So technically, his last name would have been her maiden name, Louis Eugene Grounds, the NOI backwards. So they can argue about the G or whatever, and but the rest of it is there. Is that a coincidence? That's his name. So he called him up by name. And then notice also where he says, now they claim he's the messenger of the covenant. What covenant? The Abrahamic covenant. What's it all about? Us returning back home. We already made the sacrifice. The reward is the promised land, a land flowing with milk and honey. That's our reward for 400 years of service, of sacrifice. But Farrakhan said, we ain't going nowhere. Oh, is he telling you we're not getting any reward? Because we're sinful. See, he said we brought here because we were sinful. That's a lie in itself. So he said we're not getting any reward. Because if he said we're not going anywhere, it means we're not getting any reward. That's why he's not the messenger of the covenant. He's a liar. He's against the covenant. He's called Allah a liar. He's called Elijah Muhammad a liar. He's called Farrakhan a liar. That's the purpose of Farrakhan, coming to fill that covenant, Abrahamic covenant. See, that's the purpose. And that was Elijah Muhammad's message for 4 years. The Abrahamic covenant, we're going home. He says it. He said we'd be a fool to want to stay here in the land of our imprisonment. But Farrakhan said we ain't going anywhere. Because that's what, like I said in Son of Perdition, he's with Satan. He's against us. He's a demon. And he's trying to tell us we don't need a reward. So he said, please don't make us leave the country. That's where we want to go. We want separation. He said, I don't want separation. He said, I don't want separation. He claimed, oh, separation means getting some 6 states right next to them. enemy. Why would you want to do that? You got a neighbor that's vicious and everything. You want to move next door to him? You want to get the hell out of town and get far with that clown as you can. You see? So he's a liar. So just pay close attention to that. So he says he wants to stay here. He wants to stay here. And so Jesus said, well, okay. And so he wants running to the swine. He wants to go and stay with the swine. He said, I'll go there. Let me go over there with those swine. Swine, that's what Quran call them. Apes and swine. You want to go back to swine daddies? Once he's called out, he still don't want to leave. Once he's called out, he don't still want to leave. So he says, well, let me, fine, I'm going to stay here. So Jesus let him go. See, at this time, Jesus got control. He has to ask permission. Well, please let me go over there and get with the swine. Why do you want to get swine? Then they get to fight with each other and run off the cliff. Read it carefully, brothers and sisters.
Him, saying, Send us into the pigs so that we may enter them. Jesus gave them permission. And coming out, the unclean spirits entered the pigs, and the herd rushed down the steep bank into the sea, about 2,000 of them, and they were drowned in the sea. Their herdsmen ran away and reported it in the city and in the countryside. And the people came to see what it was that had happened. And then they times came to Jesus and times saw the man who had been demon-possessed sitting down, clothed and in his right mind, the very man who had previously had the legion, and they became frightened.
See, now he has his right mind. He has an angel mind. Before he was beating himself up, he had the sealed book mind, the Christian mind, the Bible under sealed Bible mind. So he was working against himself because that's the devil's mind. That's the enemy's mind. And if you have your enemy's mind, it means you're going to work against yourself. They don't need to come against you because you're working against yourself. If you got the enemy's mind, and they said he had the enemy's mind. And so now Jesus had to give him the right mind. Now he's got his correct mind. See, he's sane now. He's got his correct mind back. He's got the angel mind. See?
Those who had seen it described to them how it had happened to the demon-possessed man, and all about the pigs. And they began to beg him to leave their region. And as he was getting into the boat, the man who had been demon-possessed was begging him that he might accompany him. And he did not let him, but he times said to...
See, let me interrupt here. It says they begged him to leave the region. Remember the whole purpose, if you read Exodus, the whole purpose of plague was to force us to leave here. That means they want, see, we got to understand, you have two groups here. You have the demons, you have the demon-possessed man, which is the NOI. Then you got the elect. See, Jesus has the elect with him, but he comes and he cleans up the NOI, as it says in Malachi. He clean it up because you had the gold and the silver. The gold is the elect, right? The silver is the NOI. They're Levites. They're not a seed of Abraham. They're grafted in tribe. It says it in here that they're the Levites when you get into Aaron part. They're Levites, right? So they are left behind. See, but notice it says they was begging Jesus to leave. That's the whole thing, because that was two things. You understand? If you read Exodus, right? It was the whole point was the plague to make us leave. They want us to get out of here. That's the whole point. But they got schizoid. Pharaoh couldn't make up his mind. Well, let him go, then they attack him. So that's another story we're not going to talk about here. So that's what it said. They didn't want to leave. So Jesus does leave. He leaves his leg. But he tells them, no, you got to stay back. That gets back into the Daniel thing with those that was delivered and then those that woke up. See, those who woke up too late, right? Some everlasting life, some everlasting shame and department. But they had to go through the tribulation. That's what it's talking about here. The demon-possessed man has to stay here and witness when Jesus leaves it with his elect. That's what it's talking about here. So pay close attention.
Him, go home to your people and report to them what great things the Lord has done for you, and how he had mercy on you. And he went away and began to proclaim in Decapolis what great things Jesus had done for him, and everyone was amazed.
Okay, so that's what said the demon-possessed man, Jesus did not take him with him. So no, you got to stay a witness. That means you got to go through tribulation. And Daniel explains to you what that's all about. Now they know who their God is. Now they got to go back and clean up everybody else, which they should have been doing, right, for the 42 years. after Elijah departed. Because they were supposed to build a bridge between, see, that's what it says, I will send Elijah to prepare a way before me. See, who he couldn't be talking about Farad, because Farad prepared the way before Elijah. So who he's talking about? He's talking about this, the angel, the messenger of the covenant. The messenger of the covenant is come fulfill the covenant. So he's going to be wanting you to go home. Farrakhan ain't trying to get you to go home. He's trying to get you to stay here. He said, I don't want to leave here. So they're supposed to build a bridge between Elijah and Suleiman or Moses and Joshua. But instead, they built mansions for Aaron or Farrakhan. See, that's why they have to get the makeup. They have to go through a tribulation and have to be baptized with fire. See.
Then Moses said to Aaron, What did this people do to you, that you have brought such a great sin upon them? And Aaron said, Do not let the anger of my Lord burn. You know the people yourself, that they are prone to evil. For they said to me, Make a God for us who will go before us, for this Moses, the man who brought us up from the land of Egypt, we do not know what happened to him. So I said to them, Whoever has any gold, let them tear it off. Then they gave it to me, and I threw it into the fire, and out came this calf. Now when Moses saw that the people were out of control, for Aaron had let them get out of control to the point of being an object of ridicule among their enemies, Moses then stood at the gate of the camp, and said, Whoever is for the Lord, come to me. And all the sons of Levi gathered together to him. And he said to them, This is what the Lord, the God of Israel says, Every man of you put his sword on his thigh, and go back and forth from gate to gate in the camp, and kill every man his brother, and every man his friend, and every man his neighbor. So the sons of Levi did as Moses instructed, and about 3,000 men of the people fell that day.
Notice he's saying they're sons of Levi. That's the N-O-I, right? And he killed Aaron, all Aaron's followers. That's what's going to happen to the Nation of Islam. It's going to happen very soon. It's in the process happening now because division is starting to show. The lines of division are starting to appear in the Nation of Islam. They're trying to hide it, but they're there. He's lost control of it. See, well, there's a lot of signs. I'm not going to it here. But notice they all get slain. See, and notice that they says that that the people are out of control. Why? Because it says it was Aaron's fault. And but Aaron wanted to blame the people. See how sinful they are? Isn't it? That's what he's saying. Y'all so sinful, right? Y'all so sinful. That's why he brought over here. He's a liar. That's what he's saying. It's the scriptures right there. He's doing everything, but he doesn't want to mention Aaron because he knows Aaron fills the gap between him and between Elijah, right, and Suleiman, or between Moses and Joshua. He's the one that filled the gaps for 40 some years. He's the one that has you in the valley of decision, and he's trying to turn your hearts back to Egypt. That's what he's doing. Farrakhan's trying to say, we want to stay here. That's exactly what Aaron would do. He would try to turn the people back to Egypt. But that's why he got it all. He got killed, self-killed, and got his home, all the people slaughtered. If you understand the Injil, we can go more detail, but I'm not going here because some of you probably don't, not familiar with it. But those familiar with the Injil know this 3,000 about all that kind of stuff. But that's what's going on here. See, there's much more, but I'm just some of it here. The golden calf is Sunni Islam. We can prove that in the Injil. See, and that's all the stuff that Aaron is doing, all the stuff Farrakhan is doing, and see what end result. The result is he got himself killed and all his people killed. And it says he made his people a mockery. He made NOI a mockery to the people. NOI is not feared anymore. It's not respected. It used to be feared and respected. It's not either now. It's a joke. With the Scientology and everything, they think you're stupid, a joke, you're a fool. Nobody respects NOI anymore. It's not respected at all. And that's exactly what it said. It says Aaron was fault, but he wanted to blame the people.
Then Moses said, Dedicate yourselves today to the Lord, for every man has been against his son and against his brother, in order that he may bestow a blessing upon you today. And on the next day Moses said to the people, You yourselves have committed a great sin, and now I am going up to the Lord. Perhaps I can make atonement for your sin. Then Moses returned to the Lord and said, Oh, this people has committed a great sin, and they have made a god of gold for themselves. But now, if you will forgive their sin, very well, but if not, please wipe me out from your book which you have written. However, the Lord said to Moses, whoever has sinned against me, I will wipe him out of my book. But go now, lead the people where I told you. Behold, my angel shall go before you. Nevertheless on the day when I will punish them for their sin. Then the Lord struck the people with a plague, because of what they did with the calf which Aaron had made.
Okay, you have to be very careful about this because people take this out of context and take it out of order. He's not punishing, only people got punished was Aaron's people. So he's not punishing the other people. He only punished Aaron's people because they was ones that was after this golden calf. They're the demons. Right? And he says they're going to be punished with a plague. They've been the ones that's dying with this plague. Right? Well, blacks are dropping like flies. The demon blacks. Gotta be careful of that term black, like I said before. It's the demons that's dying from it because it says the firstborn of Pharaoh's house. Well, they're part of their house of Negroes. They're part of his house. They're the ones that's dying from. That's why Farrakhan's walking around a mask. He's scared to make control the plague. Why is he wearing a mask? I don't wear one. I'm not afraid of this plague. I'll be 72 years old in a few days. See, it will pass over us. You got a big sign right there. All of Africa is virtually untouched by this plague. The only continent they can't figure it out. I can figure it out because it says it affects everybody, and they got the same basic DNA we have, right? Same gene. So why are we dropping like flies? No, because Pharaoh already lost his top minister in New York because they're demons. They're the ones that's dying. It's not real original black people. Seed of Abraham. They're not dying from this plague. You might get a little sick from it. You're not dying from it. See. It's there. It says the firstborn, that means the elderly. Who's dying? The elderly. They know exactly what's going on. See? And the thing is that the whole prophecy says the covenant, right? It says 1619 to 2019, 40 years of enslavement, persecution, rape, and whatever, right? And then 2020 will be the plague that will kill the firstborn. It's right on time. How could you miss it? It's right there. I'm not making it up. Just go and read the scripture, read the Abrahamic covenant. And the plague, the purpose of the plague is to make them force us to leave here. And that's just all about the demon-possessed man, whatever. To get us to get out of here. To go home. The fulfillment, the payment for us, for 1 year's sacrifice. In fact, Aaron doesn't talk about that. He never talks about it. In fact, he tried to distort. He said, well, he used the number 1555. That's not when the Abrahamic covenant kicks in. It kicks in 1619 upon his servitude. 1555 we came here, but we weren't slaves. We were prisoners. It took them 64 years to make the first niggers the first slaves. So that means it started from 1619 to 2019. The plague came around town. How could you miss it? Well, he never mentioned it because him and Silas and all of them, they ran to the COVID-19 plague at 2,020 miles per hour, ran to that wall, bam, smashed. Because they didn't see it coming. They should have. Elijah Muhammad taught it. It's right there in the scripture. I saw it. Because they're liars. They haven't broken seals and know anything. Okay, brothers and sisters.
And was given to it mouth speaking great and blasphemies, and was given to it authority to do months 40 and 2. And it opened up the mouth of it into blasphemies toward the God, to blaspheme the name of him and the tent of him, the in the heaven tenting. And was given to it to make war with the holy and to conquer them, and was given to it authority upon every tribe and people and tongue and nation. And will worship him all the dwelling upon the earth, of whom not has been written the name of him in the little book of the life of the Lamb, the having been slaughtered from throwing down of world.
Okay, brothers and sisters and brothers, this gets to the mouth. And this is in chapter 13 in the Angel or Revelations, aka Revelations. Now this talk about Farrakhan. He's the mouth. Remember, that's the only attribute that was attributed to Aaron, the mouth. He was the mouth. That's why he's chosen to call his mouth. And Farrakhan resisted. Tell you, God resisted. He didn't want it. He just kept what Moses insisted. He said, you don't need a mouth. Anyway, that's what this is all about. And those of you who understand Injil understand it better, because there's a lot of things here that, that once you understand Injil, that you can, make it, lock it in. But it says here, right, that those whose names aren't in the Lamb's Book of Life, right, that's the demons. It says those who dwell upon earth. Who's dwelling upon the earth? Earth represents European countries. And we're dwelling here. We shouldn't be here. We're dwelling. That's what it's talking about. So it's talking about the demons amongst us. Their names not written. So they will worship this guy. And they do. They worship FARRAKHAN. They worship him. Now, some of them go further than that. They worship him. That's what it says. It says he'll make war with the saints, overcome them. That means, so he's doing 42 years. His 40 years up now. He's done it for 42 years. You say, oh, FARRAKHAN, I said, he ain't going nowhere. He's going to be at least 42 years. And he's been here 42 years now. So his time is up. He's being consumed. Now he's about to be destroyed. That's just talking about. Okay?
I was watching, and the same horn was making war against the saints, and prevailing against them, until the Ancient of Days came, and a judgment was made in favor of the saints of the Most High, and the time came for the saints to possess the kingdom. He shall speak pompous words against the Most High, shall persecute the saints of the Most High, and shall intend to change times and law. Then the saints shall be given into his hand for a time and times and half a time.
Here, the mouth again, but this is the Daniel version. Same guy, right? Make war with the saints, the Ancient Days come. Remember, said the Lord will consume with spirit of his mouth and destroy the brightness of his coming. That's the Ancient of Days. That's Suleiman, right? It says he would do this until Suleiman showed up, or the Ancient of Days showed up, right? And it says he speak pompous words. I'm the God, right? I'm Jesus, right? I'm the anointed one. See, that's pompous words. He's big. He's above everything. I'm the God. That's what he's doing. And persecute the most. In other words, the people that really believe in the Master, they persecuted. If you're in the Nation of Islam and you try to, and you really speak against any of that garbage Farrakhan's talking about, you'll be persecuted. They throw your ass out of there. See, they persecute you. See, because bottom line is you got to worship Farrakhan. See, and they have he's pimping his sisters, making fundraising and stuff. Missing a lot of people never did like that. Having these poor sisters out there constantly doing fundraising so he can gallop around all the country, have his little mansions and everything. It's sick, it's sad, he's sad. But he's the mouth. So you got the Daniel version and you got the Injil or the Revelations version. Okay, brothers and sisters, this is the end of the second case against Farrakhan. I don't think I need to do any more of these. This should be sufficient, right? At least in this format. So anyone, it's clear. It says the son of perdition. It said those that follow him, they love not the truth. So you can't. And we don't care because they're demons anyway. They're demons or they're scripties or they're time makers. We can't use any of them. See? But it's the demons mostly, they're deceived by him. And they're supposed to be. He's a lightning rod. He drew all those demons to him. That's good. Because you had the parable of the wheat and the chaff. And it says they be gathered together at the end harvest. So he's gathering the demons to himself. So it's easy to get rid of them. Because he's filled. Peter, remember Peter? Jesus called him. He said he would be running the house, right? He'd be running things. But he says Jesus called him Satan. He called him Satan. He filled his house with demons, right? Because you got the subject, you got the church, you got the hell, and you got the days of hell between them. See, people don't read these things, don't pay attention. You got the three subjects here. You got the church, you got the hell, and you got the gates between them. And Jesus said the gates of hell would not prevail against it. Well, when you don't prevail, that means you fail. That means the gates of hell will fail. What's the gates designed to do? They're designed to keep the demons in, not to keep anybody out. It's to keep the demons in. So it fails means demons come into the church. That's why I said, get behind me, Satan, because he's Aaron. He was in front of him. So now, only way he tells me to get behind you, they must have been in front of you. So now he said, no, get behind me. I mean, how you going to tell somebody behind you to get behind you if they're already behind you? They're in front of you. So you tell them, get behind me. So now as your time is over, get behind me, Satan. He calls him Satan. Some editions say he's wrapped in the works of Satan. It's all the above, sisters, if anyone wants. But we're going to keep saying, because that's the whole idea. So Josh keep calling them out. So pretty soon, right, they said he consumed with the spirit of his mouth. That's what this is all about. He's being consumed now. This information is going out. Maybe you don't listen to it, but they listen to it. And the devil sure listen to it. And his information is getting out. And he's he's hemorrhaging followers. He's begging for money. See, he can barely walk. He can barely talk. They got to drug him up to have the little things he do have. He can't walk. He has to sit down. He has to have people hold him up. See? And he's borderline senile. As far as I'm concerned, he's been senile all the time. Okay, brothers and sisters, hope you understand. Assalamu alaikum.